This content is brought to you by BEC Financial Technologies, developing and operating IT for Danish banks.
Please welcome Kamil on the stage.
Hello. Okay, you are hearing me, so let's start. I will not say anything more about myself as I was introduced, but today I will talk to you about the shading and shadowing Java classes, which is quite interesting but often forgotten or missed topic in our job. But let's start with a simple question: why? Why do we have this shadowing and shading, and why we should know anything about them? So I believe the knowledge about shading and shadowing can, first of all, make us better developers, and secondly, it allows us to solve some issues that we can spot in bigger code bases, especially if we have a lot of dependencies and use a lot of dependencies, which is how we build the software today. But let's start with class loader and how it is loading the classes in the JVM. So the most important thing in regards to the class loader is how it loads classes. It loads classes by the fully qualified name, so the name of the class that includes the package name. And what's important is that when it loads the class for the first time, it will not load it again. So it is only loading the classes once. And that can cause some problems. And in the end, we say class loader, but in fact, it is more than a single class loader that we have in our applications. The first one, class loader that is provided by JVM, is Bootstrap, Bootstrap class loader. We have also platform that is platform dependent. And we have our class loader, which is bound to our application. And of course, we can have it more. Because in the end, if we deploy the application on the, for example, Tomcat or Wildfly, JBoss, or another application server, an application that is deployed on that server can have their own class loader to not interfere with different applications that are running on the same server. And those class loaders are combined or connected like a tree. So if we have the class loader that is loading the class, the first thing that is done by the class loader, by our app class loader, is asking the parent class loader, in this situation it is platform class loader, if this parent class loader has this class loaded. If it has this class loaded, it will provide it. Otherwise, it will try to load class itself. And on the screen, we can see that we have different class loader for different classes. And for example, Java SQL date is loaded by platform class loader, while the instant class is loaded by, in this case, null, which means Bootstrap class loader. We can also make some changes to the way the class loader loads by specifying the selected class path, for example, by providing different directories or different places to load them by -cp parameter when running the application. But in general, our application and class loader will load the classes first from the nearest point, so the classes that are from our application. Then there will be loaded classes that are from dependencies and any other classes. What's important is that for educational purposes and debugging purposes, we can always extract a jar file to see what is in in it. So, for example, we have the application jar extracted, and we can see all classes, we can see all files that are bound and packaged into it, and debug, see what is going on. And let's now head to our most important topic of this presentation. What is class shadowing? Class shadowing is the same stuff that we have for the variables shadowing, which we can know from C, C++, or any other language. That is shadowing the class that is further away from us is shadowed by class, or maybe we can say even replaced by class that is near us. So, for example, we can shadow the class from the dependencies by placing the same class but with different code, but with the same name, the same fully qualified name in our application. And let's take a look how we can do this. In the first example, we have application which is loading the module, and we are gonna shadow the class from the module in our app. All examples are available using this link or this QR code. And we have a very simple application that shows two messages. A hello class says hello and hello sayer says hello. We can see that, where is the mouse? Okay, I have the mouse. We can see that in the line 9, we have say hello method. And this say hello, if we search for it, we can see that it is from the module. And if we run this application, everything will look correctly. We will see hello class says hello, hello sayer says hello. And we can see that this module is calling new hello sayer, which is still in this module. You can see hello sayer here. And I prepared the same class with the same package name, which is in our application. Let's uncomment it. And instead of hello sayer says hello, it will print hello sayer local says goodnight. And after uncommenting the code and running the app, we'll see that our local class, which is put in the application, let's say overrides, shadows this class from the module. And that's all. This is all about shadowing in the end. We can shadow the class that is in different place with our own. But of course, it can go very, very wrong, especially if we have some dependencies. Because we all know how the development today works. If we want to do something, we will do what? Search for the dependency that will solve this problem for us. To search for the code written by somebody else that solves our problem. And in the end, this is how our application looks like. So we have a small code base that is written by ourselves, and a lot of dependencies that are connected to our code. It looks the same as on this comic. We almost all work with Spring Boot and use a lot of stuff from the Spring Boot, for example. And in the end, this can cause problems, and we end with hell, dependency hell. Especially if we have more than one dependency, more than one dependency that use some another common dependency. For example, we can have Redis library and Elastic library, both of them using the ByteBuddy library, and we need to work out the correct version that will fit both of Redis and Elastic dependencies. And this can be easy if it is only two dependencies. We can bump the version of the Redis or bump version of the Elastic client. But if we have these packages dependencies more, it can be problematic. And let's see the second example, how this situation can happen. With the similar example, we have the application and the module. Both modules are using the JSON library from Google, but the application uses it in version 2.7 and module uses it in the version 2.10. And let's go to the example in a second. We have working example right now, so we have commented out code. If we run it, everything will be okay. This is app 1. Let's go to app 2. If we run it, we'll see the output that is correctly printed. But if we uncomment the code, and we can see that this serializer, which is serializing the code, is from the module again. Let's see. It is from the module, and it's using JSON builder disable JDK unsafe. And now, if you run it, we have the problem. We have no such method exception. Why? Because we are running the application that is requesting the dependency, the JSON dependency in version 2.7, and this version 2.7 doesn't have this disable JDK unsafe method. But the module has the 2.10, and module sees that method. But as we have this dependency in the POM XML, let's open POM XML in the module, example 2. Example 2, not this one. It will be this one. The dependency that is put into the POM XML file of the application is loaded before the dependency from the module. So it is loaded first, it is loaded only once. So in the runtime, we have the version 2.7, not version 2.10. We can also use the dependency tree for our help to see what dependencies are used in our application. And in this example, we can see that even in the example 3, we can see that the module is using JSON in version 2.10, but the application is using in version 2.7. In general, our dependency tree from Maven is very useful to see which dependencies we are using and in which versions. And to solve these problems with classes that are shadows by different classes, we can use shading. But it is not solution for all our problems. But let's see what is class shading. Class shading is, in general, renaming or moving the classes from one package to another. So instead of, in this example, com Google JSON, we'll use the class from different packages that will be bound to our project. So for example, com JSON project, com Google JSON. And it can be done manually. So in the end, we can grab the code, copy to our project and use it, and change all the imports to point to our new shade classes. But also it can be done automatically using, for example, the Maven Shade plugin. And I have the third example for it, where I am using the Maven Shade plugin to automatically rename classes from the dependencies under new package name. So let's see this third example. It is the same, almost the same example as the example 2. We'll have also the same serializers, but also we are printing additional information about what is the package of this serializer. It is, let's see the code. It is just this JSON get class package name. And if we try to run it, we would like to have it working, but unfortunately, it is not working. As you can see, we are still having the method not found error. Why? Because editors are not yet supporting this feature, the shading and the shading plugins in most cases. In the end, IntelliJ is not supporting it yet. Eclipse probably, if I remember correctly, not. And the only one editor which is supporting it fully is NetBeans. But we can see how it works by building the package. Let's open the Maven tab and compile and package this example. It's compiled without any issues. And now, if we run this example, we can see that it is working. So, okay, I cannot bring it to the right, sorry. But we can see that the first serializer is working, and the package for the serializer is com.json, com.google JSON, and the second serializer is also working, but it has a different package name. We can see that is net-codir com.google JSON. So this package, these classes in this package are renamed, moved to the different package. And all what I have done to do this is to, let's open the module and pom.xml. It is used the shade plugin. So I have the shade plugin. Shade goal is bound to the package phase, and we are including our JSON dependency. And we want to relocate all classes that are in the com.google JSON into our new package. And that's all. It is working now. Of course, we can also not use the Maven Shade plugin, but use some additional plugins, for example, for Gradle. But I prefer Maven to work with. And yes, the shading and support for shading is slowly working better. So last year, it was not working at all. This year, something is starting to work for IntelliJ at least. And in this speed, maybe we will have working shading with plugins next year. Maybe. We'll see. But let's come back to the topic on why. Because I show you what is shading, what is shadowing, why we should learn about it, but how we can use it. So the most important thing is that we can change how the class works. So we can copy the class from the dependency into our code base and change the way of working by just changing the code in the methods. For example, we can add some additional logging. We can make additional early exits, for example. Also, we can add new features or extend features the same way, or even backport fixes or features from the newer version of the dependency. And for example, in one of the projects, we have added the support for the Morphia. Morphia is some additional library which is wrapper for the MongoDB driver. We added support for Morphia to the MongoB, which is a library for the making migrations on the Mongo. So let's say flyway for Mongo. And this support was added we have 2024, around 2017, and was removed last year. So it works without any issues for almost 10 years. And we drop it off and remove these shadowed classes, because we just now using the plain MongoDB driver. And it works, and worked at least. And of course, we can make bug fixes. So instead of waiting for the bug fix in the upstream, we can make some bug fixes in our code base and use it. So we don't have to wait to fixes like we will have the situation with the log4j, or from my perspective, we are using the query DSL library, and there is a bug. Unfortunately, this library is not anymore supported, and there is no bug fixes. So we added bug fix in our code base, and it is working without any issues for almost a year. And yeah, those bug fixes can be for the short time, or they can stay with us forever. Also, we can open the classes for the mocking and proxy. So it is something that can make us make testing easier by just copying the class to our code base and removing the final from class definition. If it is elegant, maybe not, but it is useful. Yes, it is very useful, but we need to be aware of that this has also not only pros, but also cons. If we are going to update the libraries, the dependencies that we are with classes that we are shadowing or shading, we must be sure that the update will not break our code base. This is the most important thing for us and can be problematic. And the second thing is that sometimes shadowing and shading can be additional mental overload when working on the code base. So this is something that we need to remember, that we overwrite some code by our own, that we are not using the plain code from the dependency. And the last thing that is worth noting, it is legal to use shading and shadowing. Disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take this as a legal advice. And answer is, as always, that depends. Because all stuff that is connected with shading, shadowing, and dependencies is about the licenses. So if we have dependency with MIT, Apache BSD, or GPL with classpath exception, we can shade or use shading and shadowing without any issues, and nobody will have any issues with that. If we have other licenses, we need to be a bit more aware and check. Because, for example, having the plain GPL code could make our code also GPL. So if we are in doubt, we can create the additional module that is used in our project, in our code, and use shading and shadowing only in this module, and bring this module to our project as a dependency. Like in the example that we have previously, in example 3, we are not using the shading in the application, but in some module. And in the end, will somebody knock to our doors at 6 a.m. when we shade class? No. But when in doubt, please ask your legal department. Also, what is important, if you do something like that, so make some bug fixes and so on, it will be worth to give back to the community. So blog posts, answering the questions on the Stack Overflow, or even pushing this bug fix to the upstream. And that's all from me. Thank you that you are here and listening to me, and I'm open to any questions from you.
Thank you, Kamil, so much. Are there any questions for him? Okay, so if not, give him Okay, we have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have one question. So how do you feel about the situation when you just copy a part of your, let's say, external library? So small pieces of code that exactly do what you expect, do what you want, and do not include the whole library because it adds, let's say, extra stuff that you don't need. How do you feel about this approach?
I feel perfect about it, I will say, because in the end, we don't have, in most cases, have a lot of code, for example, full dependency. We only need the part of it. And in the end, if the license is allowing us to do it, for example, MIT, Apache, PSD, or mention GPL with class path exception, why not? It is easier also for us to have only part of the code, only one class, two classes, or couple of classes only, without bringing all health, sanity that is bounded with the dependency. Because if you get the dependency and use code that is written by somebody else, you have to bring all stuff in regards to the security, bugs, how it's written, and so on. You cannot throw it away. It is always bound with dependency. So in the end, yes, I would copy it, and in the products that I work with, we have situation that we copy the part of the dependency into our code base because license is allowing us to do. Because it is just simple to then bring a lot of more code.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Do you have any more questions? Okay, so if not, please, again, big applause for Kamil.